My boyfriend and I, Ben, were on the way back from a party one night. And it was a clear, beautiful night. You can see a full moon. We were brouhahaing about the party until the engine started coughing. And then the emergency light came on. We started to slow down right at the crossing of Ronald Reagan at the Sunrail tracks. So there was a tall tale. There was a tale that said there were some kids that were killed by a freight train on these tracks, but they haunt the tracks only to protect everyone who was crossing the tracks. So in order to make sure we didn't relive this, Ben stepped on the gas to try to get across the tracks. But we didn't make it. We stopped dead on the tracks. And of course, what do you see? Here comes the train. I'm like, Ben! Hurry, hurry! He tries to start the engine and it chokes, nothing. I'm like, Ben, we're gonna die. He's like, I know! So he continues to try. And I said to myself, I may have to leave him. Ben goes, well, we may have to get out. I think to myself, no crap, Sherlock. So we try to get out the car, and Ben is wrestling. I take off my seatbelt, and Ben is wrestling to get his seatbelt off, and it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. The train keeps coming closer and closer, and I start to sweat. I'm like, Ben, we have to go. So we both start tugging on the seatbelt. Ben says, I can't get out. So again, I say to myself, I may have to leave him. And then I looked at Ben, and I remember how fine he was. I can't leave him. I decided to stay and help Ben. And at this point, it got so late, we couldn't even get out the car. We were about to be hit by the train. So all of a sudden, we both gasped and we pulled forward, only to realize the car picked up speed and we got across the tracks right when the train was coming. We turned and saw the train driver raising his hand out the window. I can only imagine what he was saying. So we both got out I got out the car and I said, who pushed us? He said, I don't know. Of course, he still couldn't get out the car, so now's not the time. But he still couldn't get out the car. I turned and looked, I said, who's there? Who's there? No one answered. Ben was like, finally got out the car, and he said, who was there? I said, I don't know. I don't see anyone. We both were a little our nerves were high, so we held each other, and we just thanked one another and thanked whoever was there. We said, thank you, whoever's there. And we started to cry and hold each other, and only to realize that we were still alive. So we turned to look at the car, to walk back towards the car, to call a tow truck, only to see the handprints of children's hands. And we realized that this tale was true. So we held each other again. It was quite scary. We felt a wind push us and hands rub across our shoulders. And they said, you're welcome. You're welcome. I turned to Ben and said, is this a joke? Ben said, no, the tale is true. So we stopped hugging. We started to walk back to the car. We called the tow truck driver, and we both sat in the car, amazed that this really just happened to us. And finally, Ben to never put on that seatbelt ever again. Thank you.